is what we're doing. Let's see, Daniel, Nicholas, Scott, and John are our first 4 in. And are you hearing me? Is everyone hearing me? Am I talking? Are we hearing? Okay. Okay, sounds like we're good now. All right, a little bit of a glitch there. There we go. And Andrea checking in from Oklahoma. Well, it's good to have you joining us as well, Andrea. A little change of format here. We started this last week. This is all race talk. If you need pre-order diecast, race-winning diecast, we have it all at www.circlebdiecast. And over the course of time, you know, my main man Jonathan has been here selling and auctioning things off, and he's going to continue to do it. He's under the weather today, but we're going to talk racing. So if you have questions, you want to talk a little NASCAR, a little short track racing, just type them right in the message box there, and we'll talk a little NASCAR racing. It was a good time. I love Martinsville, Virginia. Love the Martinsville Speedway. Maybe wish we had a little bit more drama at the front of that field, but it's cool. Bradley, I'm glad you popped in here because I saw you on the red carpet at Martinsville, and I wasn't sure who you were. I see people, and I recognize people some, and I don't recognize other, and you said Tuesday at 2, so I am glad that Bradley, that you are checking in. I really appreciate that. Nicholas wants to know, is Norm Benning's pre-order coming soon? No idea. No idea. Call the office, send a direct message. I've never had ideas on this show as far as when things are being sent in, and now that we're not talking as much specifically about diecast, I'm not having any more ideas. So call the office, send a DM, and they can answer your question, and that's what we're going to do with that for sure. Matthew wants to know windshield or no windshield this weekend. Matthew, when we go to Bristol, it will be, I believe, windshield. I believe they tested, well, I don't believe, I know they tested a mesh screen, but I just don't think they were ready to unroll it. The challenge is this, okay? We're talking Bristol dirt, okay? The challenge is this. They can't really test all of this stuff in November. Well, I guess they could. They could go to a dirt track somewhere, but they didn't. They didn't test it on the Bristol dirt until a week ago. And so I think we're going windshield, but I think that there's some plans going forward for maybe some mesh screening, but we're going windshield, that's for sure. So good times. All right, let's talk a little bit about Martinsville. We'll get to your questions as far as that goes. Now, Andrew is saying mesh windshield. So unless they've announced something that I'm not aware of, and sometimes that happens, that changes things. But they did test both, and it's just as they try to evolve these cars on dirt. Lots and lots of challenges. Martinsville Speedway, what'd y'all think of Martinsville? Cup Series race, it was the Willie B show. Well, it was the Chase Elliott show the first half, and then the Willie B show in the last half. That race winner, that car, that Raptor car, looked really, really good. Yeah, and William Byron's car is available on pre-order. But, you know, I've never been to a bad race, so I love being at the racetrack, and I have kind of a pretty cool spot with MRN, so I stay busy. I'd like to see them mix it up a little bit more at the front of the field. I thought we might have it on that green-white checker, but Austin Dillon spun his tires a little bit and didn't get up in there and able to move things around a little bit. So William Byron picked up the win, his second win of the season, and that is going to be a great, great car as far as that goes. Well, Andrew, I'm sorry you fell asleep. I'm sorry you fell asleep, but I hope you got a good night of rest. So, yeah, and Patrick says it sucks for Chase. Yeah, they just, you could kind of see, like the first portion of the race, William was close, then William was equal, and then they won the battle off from pit road at the end of stage number 2, and William was better. Whether it was adjustments that William made, adjustments that Chase did make or didn't make, it just got to the point where William Byron was the best car in the second half of that race. And nearly had to get away with that green-white checker, but the bottom line is William Byron did pick up the win. Friday night, Brandon Jones picked up the win, stood over there in victory lane, and nobody was paying any attention to him because, well, they were grappling over there in pit road, and Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs going at each other. So a little bit of a wild, little fisticuffs there. And so, but picking up the win was Brandon Jones. And on Thursday night, picking up the win, William Byron. That's his first time, as I'm aware of, his first time of sweeping a weekend, picking up the Truck Series win as well. So good weekend for William Byron. Good stuff. John wants to know, did I like the 400 better than 500? I did this week. Um, I think, well, I did this week because it was 40 degrees and I was out in the cold. I think there's some work to do on the short track program with NASCAR. And if the race is less than compelling, then I'm a fan of 400 versus 500. If the race is compelling, I'm a fan of 600 versus 500. That one I'm good with it, especially with the temperatures. And I don't know, my sense on it was the cold temperatures and the tire just never ever gave up anything. So we didn't have what we like to call in the sport comers and goers. Everyone was just kind of always there on stun, on high speed, and William Byron found a better setup than everyone else. So I'm good with it. I like the idea. I am. I'll be honest with you, John. I am in the traditionally liking shorter races. I like a little bit shorter events. I think that brings up the intensity level. I also think, but I almost have a little reverse theory on that, John. I like the shorter events because it makes the Coca-Cola 600 and the Southern 500 longer, relatively speaking, to everything else. I would love the idea of 2 or 3 endurance races. Daytona 500 is kind of interesting. I don't ever see that changing. It's 500 miles, but it's a speedway race. But I love the Coca-Cola 600 and the Southern 500, and I would love to see them become more of endurance races. And I mean, and you can't add miles to them, but they become more endurance races if everything else we run is significantly shorter. And so it's a couple times a year we get to it. So that's where I stand with it. I know some people love the idea of shorter races, and I know some people are never going to watch NASCAR again if they go to shorter races. So I understand that, and I get it. That's where my attention span falls. I like the intensity. I had a race. Do you remember that race years ago when Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards were going for the championship? And Tony Stewart rallied back from a pit misstep or something, and he drove up through the field at Martinsville. I got done with that 500-lap race and said, I wish it was 600. So I got done Saturday night with that 400-lap race and wished it was 350. I think it depends on it. The cold probably was a factor there as well. So I'm good. I'm good with whatever. I like at Martinsville, we have a 400 in the spring, and it looks like we have a 500 in the fall. So I think that's where we fall. That's where we land on it, and that's good. That's good. Jimmy wants to know about the fight. They got out of the car. They pushed and shoved each other. Ty Gibbs left his helmet on. Sam Mayer took his off. Sam went over to talk to Ty again about it. Looks like Ty landed a couple punches, and we move on from there. I think, I know I've had a couple people ask, will NASCAR address it? I think if NASCAR gets involved, and that big word if is there, if NASCAR gets involved, what would catch their attention is Ty Gibbs running into Sam Mayer's car on pit road. They can bounce off each other on the racetrack, and I really think that the way we are in NASCAR now, they can fight. I don't think either one of those bothers NASCAR all that much. I think if, and again, that's that big word, if there's a penalty, I think the penalty would be for Ty Gibbs running in the back of Sam Mayer's car on pit road, because there's people around there, and that puts other innocent people into it. So that's my theory on that. That's my guess on that. So we'll see. Exactly. AJ, you're right. It was 2011, and the race I was referencing was the Martinsville race in 2011, not the Homestead race. The Homestead race was epic as well. But we were talking about the length of the race at Martinsville, and that Martinsville race in 2011 was epic. It was awesome. Tony Stewart rallied back. In that race, I got done with that race, and I'm like, I wish we'd have gone 600 laps. Just kind of depends. But I'm good with, thus far, I've got a 100% participation rate in that they have never called me or never asked my opinion. So I have them as you have them, but there's people that are paid a whole lot more money than I am that are making those decisions on race length. But it was a great weekend at Martinsville. Every weekend at Martinsville is great. And so it was really, really cool. And yes, we go off to Bristol Dirt this weekend. The Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. I was looking at Nicholas's comment there. Truck Series and the Cup Series. A Sunday night, Easter Sunday night race. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I think it's going to go well. I like the fact, being a dirt track guy, that they're putting this one under the lights. I think that's going to help with the racing surface a little bit more. And we'll just have to see how it goes. Round number 2 of dirt track racing for the Cup Series. What is this? We've been doing it in the trucks for a number of years. Back to Eldora. Last year we added Knoxville to Bristol. And so we've been doing it in the truck series, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a fun race under the lights at Martinsville. And there we go. Andrew needs Larson to get out of his slump. Yes, he does. Now, I saw Larson win a race last week, though, Andrew. I went to my local track, Millbridge Speedway, and Kyle Larson won a micro race up there on Wednesday night. And I thought maybe that'll get him out of the slump. But he struggled a little bit at Martinsville. So we'll see. We're going to a dirt track. So it is going to be good. Ronald, going to be a big dust cloud. Now, we have no idea about that, Ronald. I have been to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dirt races. When I think they're going to be a dust bowl, they're fine. And when I think they're going to be tacky, good racetracks, they turn into dust bowls. That's dirt racing. That's just the nature of dirt track racing. I think the length of that race lends itself to some dust. Dust bowl might be a little exaggerating. You might be right. We'll see. I think they've worked on it a little bit, and time will tell. It's going to be, going to go. Let's see. AJ says, do you think it was good for Jimmie to move from the Cup Series to IndyCar after the Long Beach weekend? AJ, I have a long and storied history of not telling 7-time champions what to do about their racing career. He can do whatever he wants. He's earned that. And wrecking at Long Beach, or not wrecking at Long Beach, he can still do whatever he wants. I have done really, really well, especially the last 10 years of my life, trying not to tell anybody what I think they should do. So that's where I stand with it. Jimmie Johnson, if he wants to go race in the Kentucky Derby, let him go race in the Kentucky Derby. If he wants to go run Le Mans with that Hendrick team, let him go run Le Mans. If he wants to come back to NASCAR, bring him back to NASCAR. When you're a 7-time champion, you kind of earn the right to do what you want to do. So no real thought on that other than, and you know, here's another thing, AJ. Thus far, let me check and see. Who's he? No, not yet. Jimmie hasn't called me and asked me what I think he should do. So, no, I think Jimmie Johnson should be allowed, as I think, AJ, as I think you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do. And far be it for me to say what AJ did or what Jimmie Johnson did was wrong. So, no, Jimmie Johnson, whatever he wants to do. I hate that he had a bad weekend out at Long Beach because I really enjoy Jimmie Johnson as a racer. And I think it's been fascinating to watch him in IndyCar racing. And we'll see. We'll see what the next chapter is, how he goes forward from there. So, yes, exactly. Joel says it's time to sling him sideways. Attaboy, Joel. It's going to be fun, that's for sure. Russell, yeah, Chase has got a truck series ride. The same truck series ride that William Byron had last week, that William Byron won. So Chase is going to have it. I think that's good. And it's great. And Ronald, okay, I think you had asked earlier too, Ronald, and I missed that one, okay? Dale Jr. running the Xfinity Series race at Martinsville. I loved it. I enjoy seeing Junior on the racetrack. Okay, that's cool. But here's why I loved it, okay? When the race was over, Dale Jr. brought out to the pit road a cooler of beer, and him and his fellow competitors had a beer together and talked about racing, okay? I grew up going to dirt tracks. When I was old enough, we would grab a cooler of beer and sit around after a race and talk about it. I love that Dale Earnhardt Jr. did that. Yeah, it was fun to watch him on the racetrack. He got up there a little bit, got back there, ended up finishing up pretty good, I guess. 11th spot, I think it was, is where he finished. He did good. He did fine. He covered himself well. But I just love that he brought a cooler of beer out and was looking at guys like Jeremy Clements and Ryan Sieg and Kevin Starlin and those guys all hanging out having a beer after the race with Dale Jr. We need more people having beers after races. There. Now, that is something I will tell people to do. Have a beer after the race. It is great. Fun stuff, yes, for sure. To your question, though, Ronald, no, Junior does one a year, and that was his one for the year. So we'll have to wait and see if the partnership with, who was the partnership with? Hellman's Mayonnaise, if that partnership continues on and they keep doing races. I know Junior loved it, and I know he specifically loved racing Martinsville this weekend. So stay tuned. we'll have to see. That's for sure. Andrew, you just confessed to breaking the law. You just confessed to breaking the law, Andrew. Oh my gosh. Keep it real. Yes. I was in complete honesty, Andrew. I was going into the personal level. Complete honesty. When it comes to drinking beer, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start till I was actually in my college years. So I'm not sure how much illegal beer I drank. Had I known prior to that, I probably would have started earlier, but it is, statute of limitations. That's good. That's good. Okay. So fun stuff. I really enjoyed it. I like, I love that Junior did that. I thought that was cool. And I know other, you get a chance to race with NASCAR's longtime most popular driver, a member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and then you get a chance to have a beer with him afterward. Yeah, it's pretty cool in my book. That's pretty neat. So fun stuff, that's for sure. Russell, I think NASCAR is doing an awesome job this year. Different tracks, different ideas, next-gen car, level playing fields. Kudos to NASCAR. I have found this year to be very, very interesting. I'm with you on that, Russell. This is an area where us old baby boomers are so wrong. Okay, we talk about kids these days and their lack of an attention span. Okay. That's not kids these days. That's all of us, okay? I'm having all I can do with my phone sitting 3 inches from my hand to not pick it up and look at it after I was waiting for Jimmie Johnson to call me to ask his opinion, okay? It's not kids these days. It's all of us these days. And I really am enjoying that we went from road course to a strategy race at Richmond to a short track in Martinsville. Would have liked to have had that, been a little bit more compelling. Maybe someone roughed each other up. We had that on Friday. To a dirt track, to a super speedway at Talladega, to the Monster Mile. I am with you on that, Ronald. Or Russell, I really love that every week we're different, and I'm not one of those kids with that short attention span. I really am enjoying this year. I'll tell you while we're talking about this, and you had mentioned it levels the playing field. I think the playing field is getting leveled back out to normal. The Hendrick cars are still really, really good. We saw Denny Hamlin win at Richmond, although we saw him struggle at Martinsville. But I will say this, one part of the level field, the playing field being leveled that I think may become normal is Ross Chastain. Okay, Ross has obviously had a great year winning the race at COTA. Somewhere it was either Las Vegas or Phoenix, Ross got out of the car and everyone's like, well, boy, we're shocked to see you running up front. This has got to be fun. And Ross was like, I want to get to the point where we're no longer shocked to see me running up front. Are we starting to get there? And to me, as impressive as the COTA win was, I thought that was great. And from a career standpoint, that was huge. I think what Ross Chastain and his team did at Martinsville might be even more impressive. They went up there on Friday, and they were bad. They qualified 25th. They were bad. They worked. Ross told us on Motor Racing Network on our interview that it took them all 400 laps, but they raced from 25th to 5th at the end of the day. That's a driver and team that seems like to me that he may not be leaving the top 10 in points soon. He might be mixing it up and staying up there at the front of the field. So back to your question, Russell, I like that it's kind of mixed it up a little bit. Some of those guys we talked about earlier are kind of showing a little bit of signs of normalcy right now. Ross Chastain, he's not. He's showing the new norm for Ross Chastain is running up front, and so far so good. I'm with you, Andrew. Quickly becoming a Ross fan. What's not to like about Ross Chastain? And if you hang around with him long enough, you can get yourself some watermelon too. How about that? And, never one to miss getting the sales pitch in. If you're becoming a Ross fan, just go to Circle B Diecast and punch in Ross Chastain, and we got a whole variety of diecast of his, including some of it's an autograph, because Ross has been here. He's one of our guys. Love Ross Chastain. So great stuff. That is for sure. Mark Smith at my local dirt track last year and had a beer with Kenny Schrader. Giddy up. That's winning right there. That's winning right there. Mark has won the comment section today. He's won it because he had a beer with Kenny Schrader. That is good at a local dirt track. So there we have it. Going to be a good weekend, that is for sure. Let me see where we're going here. It is Bristol. Now, myself personally, I am going to have a lot of dirt track racing, and none of it is at Bristol. PRN, our friends at PRN, have the Cup Series, and MRN is there for the Truck Series, but we got a little different crew covering it because I want to go sprint car racing. So what I'm going to do on Wednesday night, I'm going to go to my local track here for some micro sprints, Millbridge Speedway up in Salisbury. Okay. Then on Thursday morning, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to go to Bulls Gap, Tennessee. On Thursday night, Kyle Larson is promoting a dirt race at Volunteer Speedway, Dirt Late Models. I'm going up there, and while I'm anxious to see Kyle race, I love the Dirt Late Models. I love Volunteer Speedway in Bulls Gap, Tennessee. I'm also excited because that very same William Byron, who won at Martinsville in a truck and a cup car, is going to run a dirt late model, and he has not ran many dirt late models. In fact, he's at Carolina Speedway in Gastonia, North Carolina today, testing a late model. I love William Byron this year has been most impressive to me, not only in the fact that he's the only driver to win 2 cup races, but he's also running a super late model on asphalt. He won races at New Smyrna and Hickory, and now he says, give me a dirt car. And he is going dirt late model racing. So I'm going to watch Willie B., Kyle Larson, and the best dirt late model drivers in the country mix it up on Thursday night at Bulls Gap Speedway. Then I am going to head north Friday night, the All-Star Circuit of Champions season opener at Attica Raceway Park in Attica, Ohio. Going to sneak on over to Ashland, Ohio on Saturday morning and run a 5K, my 47th run, racing in a 5K. Going to head on over to Orville, Ohio on Saturday night and catch Wayne County Speedway, a brand new track for me, my 227th racetrack. And then I'm going to get in the car on Sunday morning Easter and drive home and chill the rest of the weekend. So it's going to be a great weekend, and I hope you have a great weekend as well. If it's following along with Bristol on television, on radio, or going to Bristol, I hope you enjoy it. If you're not going to Bristol, why not check out a local dirt track you have in your area? Because there is so much good racing going on out there. You need to get out, and who knows? Maybe you can be like Mark and have a beer with Kenny Schrader sometime. And you can then come on here and you can win our conversation section, our comment section, like Mark did, with a beer with Kenny Schrader. So it is fun. There is so much great racing out there, so much good stuff, and you can get out and enjoy it. Remember, all your diecast needs are available at www.circlebdiecast.com. That's circlebdiecast.com. I'm Steve Post from, I need to mention this, Jonathan. Again, you've been doing auctions and videos of new stuff. He's out sick today, so there'll be no auction this afternoon with Jonathan. Glad I remembered that. I usually remember things like that when I'm walking out the door. Oops, should have mentioned that. Jonathan will be out sick today. Hopefully he gets better. Just follow along our social channels and you can get back to bidding and winning those auctions with Jonathan. So neat stuff for sure. Hey, I'm the Postman, Steve Post. Thanks for joining us here on our Tuesday at 2 visit from Circle B Diecast in Concord, North Carolina.